Mid-June in Texas and dangerous heat already turning historic. Austin topping 100 degrees for 8 straight days. Dallas hitting 103 Saturday, tying a daily high from 1911. Sweltering temps forcing skyrocketing energy demand. Matthew Browning, one of thousands in North Texas who lost power over the weekend when his supplier admitted record-breaking heat stressed equipment.
And when we're eventually getting into those triple it's concerning.
The loss of power from heat reminding many
Oh.
their resource of power that the state of Texas has been compromised. The Texas freeze in February of 2021 left millions in the dark and cold. The state power grid couldn't keep up. ERCOT, the agency managing the state's scrutinized grid, said it's now performing as needed. Adding Sunday's demand set a new all-time peak.
It's a very delicate balance to strike here.
Michelle Richmond, who represents a trade group of Texas power generators, says extreme weather, like the heat wave starting earlier in the year, known as shoulder seasons.
We need to be able to take our regular precautions in order to make sure we can run when Texans really need us.
It's a problem Texas witnessed in mid-May when ERCOT asked at least one plant to post to help meet demand. The very next day, the plant went on
Perfect.
equipment failure.
Hundreds of billions of tourists from all around the world arrive in España every minute with one singular goal: to partake in the only beverage available there, sangria. Sangria is a wine-based punch commonly made with red wine, fruit, flavored sodas, and various boozes. Sangria, which means bloodletting in Spanish and Portuguese, has a long and moderately interesting story with two main theories about its origin. The first begins, as every goddamn thing does, with the Romans. This theory holds that the Romans crossed the Iberian Peninsula and planted wine grapes. Since the Romans rarely drank water because it was nasty, they usually drank the wine they made, which was also nasty. They would attempt to make it palatable by making it very sweet and very high in alcohol. Then, history, blah, 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 and ta-da, sangria. The second theory, which I like better, is that sangria was preceded by sangaree, a fruited drink which likely originated in the West Indies and from there was introduced to mainland America, where it was common beginning in the American colonial era, but had largely disappeared in the United States by the early 20th century. It briefly emerged in Spanish restaurants in the 1940s, then was made more popular by being featured at the 1964 World Fair in New York, New York. Sangria can be made any old way by throwing fruit and crap into dry red wines such as Tempranillo or Garnacha. But most of the bars and restaurants in Spain serve what's called Tinto Verano, which is simply red wine, ice, and either lemon soda or casera, an artificially sweetened soda water. Here in the States, Ponzi mixologists and busy moms of four write recipes for red, white, or rosé wines with plum cots and dragon fruit and hatch chilies or whatever, and I'm sure they're just delightful. But only one is correct, and that is the one Kevin and I made up yesterday. Let us show you how it's done. For our sangria recipe today, I have chosen the 2020 Camus Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. You can buy this at any Walmart. And because it has so much sugar in it already, you can use less in your recipe. Before we get started, Kevin and I are going to evaluate this wine.
See how wine-like it is.
How much wines do you think they put in that wine?
There's wine in here.
You think so?
This is a very popular wine. It retails for about $70 to $90. And it's very famous for being smooth.
I like the taste buds.
Jammy. So,
That sounds like it's retorted in the wine world to me.
but we're snobs.
I like jam. I mean, yeah.
We all.
Yeah,
Marmalades.
I mean, there's a reason why these kinds of wines are popular, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But we're going to take a look at it and see what we think as arrogant wine bastards.
You're the arrogant wine bastard. I'm the pretty one. I'm just kidding. You're pretty too.
Aw.
It's true. Yeah, that is like a cherry chocolate tart, a tort, if you will. I want. See, that's the professional lost in thought. I'm over here taking sips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that it's so big on the forward fruit that the subtleties that I would love to see in Cabernet are not coming through. It's just a big fruit ass dump. And there's so much sweetness to it that it's just, to me, it's just not enjoyable. It really, truly isn't. It's just jammy and
It's kind of syrupy to me. Like it feels thick.
yeah.
It's pretty sweet. Like, you know, even for being a dry wine, as you were saying, like it's just, I hate it. Pours more.
Hashtag teehee.
I hate it.
But
Okay.
as you were talking about, I think it's going to make a really nice sangria because all of those fruit jammy flavors are there, and cut with some fresh fruit and some sparkling water. I think we got a winner on our hands. Let's find out, shall we? So I'm going to go ahead and dump them in here, and actually what I'm even going to do is kind of squeeze them a little bit just to get some of that natural juice already out. This is usually that part in like the Rachel Ray shows where she just kind of sits in silence for a minute, but I'm not her, and I never will be her. Stop asking me to be her!
No one's asking you anything, Kevin.
Everyone's asking the world of me all the time, and all I do is give. And I'd say probably the most common fruit you'll see in sangria is apples. Apples and citrus are usually the kind of go-tos. So we are following suit. So we have that right here. And what I'm going to do is, again, as you were saying, since the wine itself is so sweet, we're not going to throw so much sugar on there. Probably like, for this amount of fruit, maybe like, we call that like about...
Tablespoon.
I'd say it's a little more than a tablespoon. I'd say probably, I'm going to say overall about a fourth of a cup. Where normally if you had a drier red wine like your Tempernios or stuff, you'd maybe do a little bit more just to kind of balance that out. But since this is sweet chocolate pudding caramel length, we're going to leave it that. So what you're going to do is just kind of shake it around. Give it a shake, be a pepper. And you're just going to let it sit for about 30 minutes. And whenever you come back, you're going to see some of that juice kind of settling in at the bottom. And then we'll add our wine, we'll add our ice, we'll give it a mix. And actually what I'm going to do is get my lady spoon and kind of just jam it in there. Pun very much intended.
Jam it in there.
Jam it in there. Can we get some sound effects in here? Is that too much? All right, okay. All right, and now we wait.
What? Fuck, why?
Thank you, ma'am. Jesus on a stick. We're ready for the sangria now.
Okay, now I'm good.
Okay, you're good. You're back. Here we are. And here's our beautiful sangria that we made with Camus. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that's me.
I remember that. Look at that. You see those fruits a-floating?
That's delicious.
I'm curious how this is going to go.
Let's take a look.
Let's take a look. Here we go. Look at that. All right, and then we're going to top it with some bubbly water just to give us some fizz. Lovely. Lovely. All right, here we go.
Cheers.
Oh my god, they're so much better. You're liquid
Refreshing.
drinking.
Yeah, so there's a lot of sugar in this wine, so not a lot was needed. The fruit is really nicely macerated. The acidity from the fruit has helped this a little bit out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lovely, refreshing sangria for the summer.
Or the spring.
Or the fall.
Or the winter.
Hey,
you know?
whatever.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're in control. Don't let anyone tell you different.
It's your world. Make of it what you want.
And cut. My poor pancakes.
This episode is brought to you by Natural Wine. Natural Wine. It is too good.
So shut your cork hole, Mr. Wagner.